Housing discounts skyrocket. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my stein of coffee in hand. I thought we'd have a look at this very interesting article from Domain. Now, it's to do with discounting. Discounting of housing and property in general. Now, discounting, very simply, is when you discount the price that you list a property for, essentially. It's a sign of a buyer's market. And it really throws water in the face of all of the property bulls that are saying property will never go down. What do you think, everyone? What do you think? Remember, we're in an economic lockdown. Unemployment only went up to 6.2%, if you believe what the ABS is saying. Tourism is down. All these industries are suffering, yet there's still people spruiking on property and encouraging people to get in. I suspect it's a lot of FOMO, fear of missing out. And I think, judging by, well, the bipolar nature in where these newspaper articles and media articles we're reading flow from one to the other, some are saying it's all good, buyers are coming back, based on simply search result data and hopes and dreams. And the other one is saying property discounting is happening. What do you believe? So let's have a look at this one, guys. Property price slashing has doubled and tripled in Australia's biggest cities. So out here in Australia, guys, we've got, I'll bring up this chart just showing you property prices, how they've grown on this index. Just have a look at Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, even Hobart, how much they've grown since 2006. I don't want to take this chart back to how they've grown since 2000. But Sydney and Melbourne make up the biggest portion of our property market. They're always the leaders in the news. They're always the ones that are discussed with regards to auction clearance rates. So that's why shifts in Sydney and Melbourne tend to ripple through the whole market. Property price cutting has nearly doubled and tripled in Australia's two largest cities, new data shows, signalling a slowing housing market. More than 13% of properties listed in Sydney and 10.7% in Melbourne had their prices discounted in April, according to Domain data. This was up from 6.7% and 3.7% respectively from April 2019, equating to nearly double the amount of discounting in Sydney and almost 3 times the amount in Melbourne. Now you have to remember, everyone, this is before we actually have any, well, significant changes or the banks stopping their nice and friendly behavior where they're letting people skip on their mortgages pretty much, and where recession hasn't officially been declared. So we're already starting to see, I'd say that's a fairly decent increase, guys, from 3.7 to 10.7, from 6.7 to 13% in property discounting. It's a good leading indicator of where prices are going to go, Domain senior research Nicola Powell said. When you see an increase in the proportion of listings with a discount, it normally means that you're going into a softening market. So if people are seeing that, what are they going to do? What are they going to do, guys? Are they going to keep up and rush in now, or are they going to hold off on buying? So you can see here March saw a jump in the proportion of listing discounted, which has eased in April. So it's gone up in March and it's gone down. Is this because the market is adapting? Agents understand now, perhaps being a little bit more realistic of what prices are, or maybe people are pulling properties from the market. All capital cities across the country saw a higher percentage of properties being discounted in April 2020 compared with April 2019. But the percentage of discounted properties was highest in March this year as the economy went into a rapid hibernation and the escalating pandemic outbreak. March was particularly a turning point. We saw that in other market indicators, and the fact that we had the ban on open homes and auctions and the economic shutdown, Dr. Powell said. The positive thing for April is that percentage has now started to ease. This is the thing there. Well, is it a positive, or is it simply a sign that the market is facing reality? All cities beside Darwin and Hobart saw more than 10% of listed properties discounted in March, with Sydney reaching 14.1% and Melbourne 12.6%. Adelaide was the next most marked down city at 11.1% in March, while Canberra, Perth and Brisbane saw between 10 and 10.6% of properties take a price cut. In April, all cities saw the percentage of properties with price cuts slip, with all besides Sydney and Melbourne seeing property discounts of less than 8.3%. Dr. Powell said the few new properties listed in April were potentially priced more competitively than those in March, which were likely to have been listed earlier in the year in a rising market. So here you go. This is what we're seeing, everyone. We're seeing the market adjust. We're not seeing discounting become, less prevalent. We'll see how it goes. Perhaps we were seeing vendors coming to the market being a little bit more bullish in terms of the prices they wanted to achieve, she said. So most capital cities had a jump in listings discounted in March, with fewer properties discounted in April. Well, they're just becoming more realistic. We can see here's the discounting numbers. While the percentage of properties with reduced price price reductions was higher than it was during the 17-19 downturn in Sydney and Melbourne, Dr. Powell said the dollar amount reduction was relatively similar. When you look at the percentage of price edits, it's actually more or less the same, and in some cities the percentage is actually smaller than this time last year, she said. Most capitals saw prices rise between 3 and 5%, with Hobart slightly higher at 5.2% and Darwin recording the highest percentage of 8.2%. So you can see here. This is while the number of listings discounted jumps, the price discounted had eased, so they're becoming more realistic. Sydney's North Beaches regions, which included suburbs as far south as Manly and as far north as Palm Beach, saw the highest proportion of discounted properties in the country at 17.6% in April. What, Palm Beach down the Gold Coast? Is that part of Sydney's northern beaches? Are you kidding? That can't be right. That can't be right. They must have another Palm Beach further south. The number was up from 10.5% in April last year and from an 18-month low of 5.8% in September. Prices in the area were coming down from a high peak. The median house price in the area is $1.97 million, up 18.6% on the previous year, Joshua Perry from Bell Property DY said, which meant widespread discounting was expected. There's always some owners who aren't adjusting, but most are now seeing that what is happening now is a fair price, Mr. Perry said. He said inspections and auction restrictions being lifted meant there was more confidence from both buyers and sellers. And remember, the market hasn't really, we haven't really had high unemployment numbers, have we? People still haven't had to respond to the banks. The Mornington Peninsula and Melbourne's inner south saw the highest proportion of discounted properties in Victoria and were tied for the second highest across the country, along with Newcastle in New South Wales at 14.3%. Miss McIrwin's partners director, Dean Phillips, said the Mornington Peninsula had seen a high number of holiday homes turn over since the beginning of the pandemic restrictions, with people becoming more realistic about the price of their properties. And that's not surprising. We've seen just how many holiday homes have had to be shifted, how many Airbnbs have flooded back onto the rental market. What's the point in keeping a property if you're running a loss? They're not trying to profiteer as they were prior to the pandemic, he said. They're selling for genuine reasons, and we are seeing a return to a genuine real estate market. Are we, or is it still quite inflated? The regions where prices have been discounted the most include Shepparton and Victoria, where buyers are expecting a 9.4% discount. Daly, Tiwi, West Arnhem in the Northern Territory at 9%, and the Southern Wheat Belt in Western Australia at 8.7%. So there you have it, everyone. Quite sharp discounting in the property sector. Looks like sellers are starting to get a more realistic appreciation of what's happening. Buyers' demands for discounts, I wonder if it will grow. I think this is a leading indicator of where the market is heading. So if we're seeing these type of leading indicators, this type of information is being presented to us, where buyers are having to discount, where sellers are demanding discounting on one side, okay? And then next to it, we have other people saying, search results are up, so the market is going to come back. Everyone, quick, jump in. What do you think is more useful information? And we're going to see a deflation in the value of these houses? How many people are going to hold off and take their time before buying? Let me know in the comments what you're planning to do. Is this increasing your FOMO or reducing it? As always, thank you for watching. Please let me know your opinions, thoughts, and comments down below. If you're a fan of the channel and you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can like, share, and subscribe. You can also support us financially via Patreon or via YouTube. You can use our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay or Independent Reserve and Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.